Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's webinar on all the administrative items that we need to go over for our meeting today. And hopefully this will help you prepare for our meeting coming up on the 29th of April. First items we want to go over are several items, and starting with the catechetical plan, I wanted to let you know that we are once again revising that in the hopes of making it more user-friendly. We will go over that in a little bit more detail on the April 29th meeting, but I wanted to give you a heads up so that you don't start working on the old one thinking you're getting something off your plate early. So just bear that in mind. It'll come April 29th. We think it'll be pretty simple. The second item is the use of the witness. Don't forget, once again, this coming year for 14-15, the use of the witness is optional. However, keep in mind that if you're not going to use the witness for faith formation and development and spiritual formation and development, that you will need to list on the catechetical plan what you are going to use in replace of that. The third item under Catholic Dimension is Respect Life programming. If you remember, we're on a 4-year cycle on Respect Life issues, and for 14-15, our topic will be aging. Working with the elderly, dealing with those who are moving on in age and all those issues that face them. So I think there's some golden opportunities for you to emphasize this with the students, with the teachers as they prepare. Once again, we will have materials available for you throughout the spring and summer as you're preparing for this. But I do think, this is an opportunity for you to kind of work with your staff to talk about, maybe some end of life issues, the care of the elderly, and frankly, the abuse of the elderly for maybe middle school and high school students. Decisions about for high school students, primarily on life sustaining issues. At what point, when if people are facing the dilemma of a loved one being basically incurable, and the options they face, and what Catholic teaching is all about as it relates to end of life issues. I think that's a good opportunity. I think some pretty heavy topics for middle school and high school kids to address, as well as working with the elderly. Many of you have Grandparents' Day and stuff, but to kind of take it to another level. Also, next year, we will once again have a study book. We're still looking at a couple of options on that. I'm hoping by the 29th to let you know what the book will be for next year. Also, as we've been talking about for over a year now, on Monday, June 23rd, we will have, for the first time and certainly as long as I've been in Catholic schools, we will have a statewide Catholic administrator meeting in Des Moines. We're anticipating about 150 Catholic school principals. And of course, as you know, if you do the math, that means about half of them will be from the Archdiocese. And, the theme for the day is Catholic school leaders for the future. Bishop Kupchik will be there. He's the chair of the NCEA Board of Directors. I think that's a big deal. Also, Archbishop Jacobs will be there. He will be a keynoter for that as well. Information about hotels and so forth was sent in a previous newsletter, so make sure you take care of that. Specifically, it's at West Des Moines Dowling. Sunday night, there will be an optional social to be set up, and information about that will be later. And then the day will start at 8 o'clock at West Des Moines Dowling Catholic, and then we should be done by 3:30 that day as well. So this is required. This isn't if it fits your schedule, great. So we want to see you all there. And then finally, under the Catholic Dimension, Catholic Schools Week will be here, before we know it. That's the way it always works. January 25th to February 1 of 2015. The best part is, excuse me, the best part is the theme is the same. And so therefore, whatever you did last year, you can build on. The communities of faith, knowledge, and service, I think, gives you an opportunity to maybe build on another component of it if you choose. So please make sure you start your planning now for that. Moving on to Archdiocesan programming and reporting. First of all, STO update. We anticipate that we will have the reports to you no later than May 5th. We're going to try to get them earlier, but I think the realities of some of the bugs that we discovered with their new website, which I think long term will be great, but this year did present a few challenges. I do think that um, we'll still should be on schedule for May 5th to get the reports to you, but I just doubt if they're any sooner than that. You'll be sent electronically. We do ask as soon as you get them. If you've got some people on there that students that you know are not coming, start weeding them out right away. But just review it real quick to make sure that they're your students. In the past, we've had some situations where, we have several Sacred Hearts, for example, that somebody clicked the wrong Sacred Heart. So, if you've got a student there that the address just doesn't fit, if you're uh, in Holy Family Dubuque and you've got an address of Cedar Rapids, well, chances are pretty good it's probably a Holy Family Cedar Rapids kid. So just contact me if that happens and we'll track it down. And then don't forget, there is an expectation that the tuition contract goes out to everybody, whether they received STO assistance or not. And then, of course, more information about um, how we're going to verify the students and so forth that are not returning that received STO assistance. That'll be out in mid-June, so that we'll be able to fund round two. But there'll be more information about that. For the time being, just concentrate on these round one gifts, and we'll worry about round two a little later on in the year. The Coursera grants, we're hoping to get some information out to you in May about your amount for next year. The chances are pretty good it's going to be identical to what you received this year. It's just that you'll be notified in May so that you can plan accordingly to assist students earlier on and let them know that they have this assistance coming. So we're hoping that's helpful to you. We've been talking about this now for several years, but we think it's finally here. Instructional leadership days for 14-15, the former Iowa Core days, if you will. Um, those dates are on your information that you see there on your report that we sent out prior to this webinar. November 6th, February 5th, and April 14th will be the days. Details about those days will be coming. We're looking at specific training on instructional leadership as our theme for the coming year. We don't know yet exactly how the Iowa Core is going to shape out exactly. And we also aren't sure exactly how the FAST training is going to work. So that's why we're trying to keep our options open for these 3 days. But the bottom line is we want to be able to prepare for instructional leadership and help you be instructional leaders. So we're looking at these as more staff development opportunities. Looking at, first of all, administrative contracts. Don't forget that if you should bring those on the 29th and I'll sign them, or you can send them early. That's perfectly fine too. As it looks for all the different issues involving the reports and stuff for 14-15, you see those listed on page 2 of Administrivia sheet. There's just general reminders. Also, we have your administrative goals that we're going to be talking about a little bit more on the 29th, but please know that one of the major changes that we're going to make for goals for next year center around the fact that rather than us dictate to you which 2 of the 6 administrative goals or administrative standards we want you to use, you can use any of the 6, whichever fits your current needs the most, plus Catholic dimension. But keep in mind, we do want you to rotate among the 6. We don't want it to be the same 2 every year. Obviously, that would point to a problem that you might be having. But anyway, keep working on that. And as you're thinking about what you want to do, I always go back to the SMART goals concept and that, answering the question, so what? You do this, so what improves? You do this, so what changes? So keep that in mind as you're thinking about your goals for next year. Remember, the desire is to make you a better administrator. This may or may not relate to the school, but the goal is to make you, the goal of the goals is to make you a better Catholic school administrator. The student parent handbook, the revisions to it, there aren't going to be a lot, but those should be done. I think the goal will be the second week of May. So please plan accordingly. I wish it was going to be earlier than that, but it just doesn't look like that's going to happen. Don't forget about the ARBI. That we say this, repeatedly, but when you go to the ARBI, you will always find the most recent information. That being said, We spend time during the summer reviewing the files in the RB, and we work hard to update them because some of them are time sensitive. So if at any point, starting after maybe June 30th, you go into the RB and you find a file that has, out of date information, please let one of us know. It's just a file that we miss. So, and with over 1,000 files in there, it's easy to have that happen. So help us out a little bit with that. End of the year administrative inventory is found in the RB. That is a summer project. Doesn't take very long. I mean, you can do it. Frankly, it doesn't have to be a summer. You can do it right now, as far as that goes. But just get it updated. Everybody, whether you're returning or not, should fill that out because God forbid if something tragic happens and we need to come in and find things, that administrative inventory is where we would start. So it's just something you would fill out, print a hard copy, let your secretary know where it is, or let your school contact person know where it is, or you can email it to one of us if you prefer. And just so we can find it just in case we need to. Recognition certificates, just another reminder to get those ordered early because sometimes my schedule gets a little crazy in May and those could be sitting on my desk for a few days and you're waiting for them. So don't wait till the last minute. A reminder about exit interviews. Um, First of all, always use the most recent one, which is in the RB. But second of all, remember the only parents who receive exit interviews are those who leave before the end of your program at your school. So if you are a K-5 building, I we don't have exit interviews for those leaving fifth grade, even if they're not going on to a Catholic middle school or not going on to a Catholic high school or whatever your situation is. It's for those if you have that K-5 program and they are moving at the end of third grade. For whatever reason, if they're moving to California, we still want them to receive an exit interview. If they're moving to the public school, we still want them to receive an exit interview. Even though they're really, really mad at you for something you did or supposedly did or didn't do or whatever, doesn't make any difference. Please send them an exit interview. Also, and the final item under this area, the tier 3 teachers. Once again, if you are going to move somebody to tier 3 next year, don't wait until September to give them the tier 3 plan. Work with your school contact person, get the tier 3 plan in place. Notify the teacher that beginning next year or beginning immediately, they're going on the tier 3 plan, what that plan is, so that they have plenty of time to prepare whatever they need to be prepared for before the following year begins. I think that will help them immensely. Moving into state and federal reporting, legislative update, that's going to be live because the legislative session is winding down in a hurry and we have issues involving radon, transportation, textbooks, and I'll update you on ESA. And we'll do that live on the 29th. Also, the LAO plan, the template for that is nearly complete. Mindy's going to develop a webinar to cover all the details. If you want to look right now in the RB, there are some LAO plans that a couple other schools have already completed that we posted for you to review. You don't have to wait for our template, but our goal is to try to take this burden away from you as much as we can to help you. But certainly, particularly those of you who have several students where you're actually going to have an ESL program in your school might want to get started on it and not wait for us. Most of you will not have that, but nonetheless, and that's the group that probably our template will be more aimed towards. Don't forget that the submission for SRI data is now open between the 17th and May 8th. Remember, it's only for practice, but Deb really is encouraging you to go in and spend at least some time trying to figure this thing out so that as you have questions, you can get those to her before the site goes live. So just keep that in mind. And Deb's going to work with the elementary schools on their data as well. Spring beds will open up May 5th, close June 13th. So you'll be able to work on that starting then, but make sure you keep in mind that deadline. Also, a reminder, last year, I believe, was the first year in where the free and reduced information was so readily available in Power School. And once again, we have posted on the folder with the information for this meeting. We've posted that on the forum so that that free reduced lunch assurance statement once again needs to be printed, signed, and filed for anybody who would have access to that free and reduced information. Even if they don't have a need to see it, if they have access to it and can see it, they should fill it out. Any questions, let us know on that. Innovative calendar request. Anybody, now this is important to know, if, emphasize if, you are going to utilize the hours option, you do not need to complete the innovative calendar request to Amy Williamson. If, on the other hand, you are utilizing days, then you will, and if you're not going to go the full 180, you're going to go to 179 and use one day of the 180 for professional development. That's still available as an option, but you need to complete a simple letter to Amy Williamson at the address on the sheet, stating that you're going to be doing utilizing the innovative calendar. You're going to have 179 days. The extra day will be used for professional staff development, and this was approved by the school board on whatever date the school board approved it. Also, don't forget, if you did not do what we wanted you to do about 2 months ago and send a request to Amy Williamson for an early start, remember, a start date before September 1. If you have not done that, you really have to get that done now, unless your board has not approved the calendar for next year. If the board's not approved a calendar for next year, you obviously cannot send in an early request start date. If they have, though, and you haven't done that, please stop the webinar now. Send a quick letter to Amy saying that you are requesting an early start date for August 25th or whatever, and the board approved that calendar on whatever date they approved it on. You need to have the rationale about why you need to start early, which lots of times has to do with semester ending before Christmas, getting done before June 30th at the other end of it, whatever. But make sure you take care of that. And that pertains to whether you have hours or days. Once again, any questions, let me know. Just so you know, though, I do have a meeting in Des Moines in early May where we are going to confirm everything directly with Amy Williamson at the DE, just to be sure that we have all done this correctly so that there are no snafus at the end. Also, Title I, don't forget that now's perfectly the right time to start working on Title I expectations with your public schools for next year. Don't forget that we don't have to do the same program that public schools are doing if we've got a different idea. We do not have to identify kids the same way that public schools do as it relates to who receives the services. The thing we have to do, obviously, is follow the free and reduced numbers and whether those kids would attend a Title I public school. Also, Title II, there are some changes in how that's being funded for next year, and I will be receiving that information also at that same meeting at DE in May. And you're going to have to watch the newsletter or perhaps a special newsletter edition about how that's going to impact, if it really even does impact us much. But I just want to give you a heads up about that. And this last item is from that department of where I do not make the news, I simply report it. There are some proposed new rules. As of right now, those haven't passed, but the chances are pretty good it will, involving any food service directors you hire after June 30th of 2015. Not 14, not this summer, next summer, June 2015. And basically, you see the link on there on the sheet that we had available for this webinar. If your school has less than 2,500 students, now the good news is every school and every system in the Archdiocese is less than 2,500. So all of us we have to make sure that the person we hire after June 30th, 2015 to be the director has to have a high school diploma and at least 5 years of relevant experience in school nutrition programs. All right. So in other words, they served as a cook somewhere, or something where they have worked with school nutrition programs for at least 5 years, and they have to be a high school grad. All current directors, regardless of their level of education, are grandfathered in. So it's only anybody. So if your head cook's retiring at the end of the 14-15 school year, obviously I think it would behoove you, just to make this cleaner, to get them hired before June 30th, 2015, because after that date, these requirements go live. Okay. And the last part of this, real quick, what we're going to cover in specific on the 29th is lots. I've had lots of questions about hours a days, concerns, and challenges. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about quality reflections. I will have that update for you. I'm hoping some updates for you on the non-public start date waiver. So I want to make sure we get that right. Legislative update, particularly radon and ESA. And then finally, Kim and I will be talking a little bit about how this whole transition is going to work next year. Thank you. Have a good rest of the day.